We all talk about, we always talk about breakups and how painful it is to break off from your significant other and the heartbreak that comes with it. But we generally don't really talk much about friendship breakups, and how hurtful that can be. And sometimes how it's not meant to be, as cliche as that sounds. And this is a very similar story. This is not just a story of breakup, but this is also a story of self-discovery and respecting oneself. So this next friend of mine, I knew her for some time, like few years, and for the most part of our friendship, she was my acquaintance essentially, and we used to talk maybe 6 months में एक बार or a year में एक बार. Used to just catch up, very basic catch up and stuff like that. But a few years back, we got an opportunity to be in the same city, and she was really kind to me, very helpful, very generous. I was extremely grateful. The thing is, from the get-go, instinctually, I knew to keep my distance from her. And at the time, this is the phase in my life where I used to ignore my instincts. That's how I got into another friendship where my instincts were telling me to not be friends with this person, but I went into it. But clearly that lesson didn't stick as hard. So it took me couple of trials and errors to kind of listen to my instinct on the first go, not wait for any kind of proof. But so back to the story. I like I said, she was really kind to me when I was in her city, and when lockdown happened, what happened was she also got stuck all by herself in the house. So did I. And at the time of my peer mates, of my family and friends, she was the only one who was in the same situation, just as I was. Everybody else was either stuck with family, so their problems were different. Not to say easier, just different. And she was the one person who really understood the issues because we were living alone. And with dark times, we kind of bonded over that, how stuff was going on in work, relationships, and everything under the sun. And I think one of the things was that because I had a very weird relationship with others being kind to me, as thankful as I was also overly guilty. If they did this much for me, I'll do this much for them, which is not okay and not healthy at all. But that's who I was at the time, and that's what I did. And I think of that, they kind of assumed that I'm this person, which honestly I'm okay with. Even when I did things for her, I didn't do with an expectation that she'll do at the same level or anything like that. I was in a position to help her, I did. But I think it got uglier later on because well, I'll get to that part of the story. But I remember, I think she started to take me for granted because of just, she expected me to put my needs and my emotions and my requirements and my time aside and help her out in everything under the sun. So she, I think, was expecting that, which was a little unrealistic. But eventually, I think, but even that part was not the real issue. The issue was I was unable to draw any kind of boundary between us. I tried very subtly in some places, but I wasn't assertive and I wasn't clear of what I was asking. And that was my biggest takeaway from that relationship, that you cannot function in any relationship assuming, one, that the person can read your mind and they'll have the same set of values. You have to, regardless of if they listen or not, you communicating your needs is not to do with them listening. You are communicating because, for me, it's more for myself, because I had such a weird relationship with myself where I wasn't able to tell myself what I needed, let alone tell anybody else. So it was an important part of it. But that was one of the biggest challenges I faced at that time. And that friendship kind of amplified it for me. Because I think she was in a phase of life where she was really alone. There wasn't anybody else supporting her. Whatever life choices she made at the time, she was kind of, for one reason or the other, stuck alone, all by herself. Her partner was there, but it was a long distance thing. So she was basically alone in her situation. And she couldn't maintain relationship with other people. I don't know if it was from her end or their end, but I didn't really care about that. I think I was perhaps the only person she came to where she ranted about her problems in life. And look, I have other friendships like that. But the problem is with other friendships, our ranting, our talking about our problem is limited to some very specific amount of time. We don't only rant. But with her, it was like that. And I never addressed it very honestly because there was a cowardly side of me who was saying, I don't live in the same city as her. I don't really have to spend 24 hours with her, so I can call her once in 3 weeks and listen to her go on for an hour and that should be okay. And I was functioning from that cowardly state. I wasn't telling her to shut the fuck up, but I wasn't also. I was kind of avoiding her or kind of dodging her in that sense. And I think the kind of person I am now, I wouldn't have done that, but that's what I did then. And I was hoping that the way her life was proceeding, I knew that in some time, maybe a year or two from the time I'm talking about, she'll be so busy in her life that she will kind of ignore me. She'll stop calling me. And this is such a weird thing. This is what I did in my first romantic relationship. I was hoping that the other person will get so tired that they will bring up the part of breaking up with me so I wouldn't have to do it. I was so non-confrontational. And it was so bizarre. But coincidentally, or destiny had some other plans. Because of some other emergency, I ended up in the same city as her, and fortunately in her flat they had one room available. So I ended up living with her, which I knew was not a good idea, but I was desperate, so I lived. And in that time, because once you live with someone, you get to know them very, very closely, I realized that I really cannot have this person in my close circles because the values that she had, the ambition that she had was very different from what I had envisioned in my life. And again, different ambitions you can still kind of go with. Not everybody has to have same ambition. But the thing is, she had very different values from me. That doesn't make her good or bad, just different values. And I still stretched it on for a few months. I was like, okay, theek hai yaar, let it be. After a few months, she'll be gone. She was supposed to be gone after a few months. So why to kind of end it on sour note and yevo, she'll feel bad. She doesn't have a lot of support, and this is how I rationalized in my mind. But the thing was, it was just me telling myself that I am doing this for her, but in reality, I didn't want to confront her. But you know what actually ended up happening? I had to confront her. I had to confront her and basically break up with her. And it was done in the most, this was done in the most awkward way possible. Breaking up with someone and then living in the same house. It's so fucking awkward, but that's what happened. So, leading up to that confrontation, a lot of things, small little things happened. Like I said, she had really unrealistic expectations of me. Again, where I went wrong was I should have clarified from the get-go. But I was hoping that this person will have the same values that I would and understand it themselves. They didn't. It was just the part of me that didn't want to have a fight, was hoping all these stupid shit. So I was kind of doing the soft way, the more cowardly way, as I would like to put it. Look, sometimes it's necessary, but with her it was cowardly because I should have went and said this to her, okay, look, this is your expectation, this is not okay. And there was one conversation I had and she really dodged my question. So I think after a while I just gave up on it. I was like, fine, let this person be, because I think as scared as I was about confrontation, I think she was worse. She couldn't have, because she had a lot of beef with people, but she couldn't say it to their face. So that said a lot about her. But I was in my transition period. By this time, I already had stood up to my parents. So while I hadn't fully embraced my fighting personality, I was also like trying to maybe hold on to some peace in my life. And I was like, I already fought with my parents and such a big scale fight where I had to leave my house. I cannot have another fight in this house and have to leave. So I was kind of resisting the change and transition. But unfortunately, I think she did it easier for me. Honestly, I would credit this to her, because I was waiting for the time to get over. I was like, it will just get over. I'll stick it out. But she brought in her significant other in the fight. And this is hilarious because we lived in the same house. She could have had a conversation with me at any time of the day, any hour of the day, but she didn't. She chose to call her significant other who was in a different country to call me and basically confront on her behalf, and also have a conversation in a way which they basically just said to me. I can't give you the verbatim, but I'll tell you the basically gist of conversation was ki you have to tell me what's going on with you because you're not helping my significant other, being my friend, and that if you're not up for it, I'll have to find someone else. And I just realized, fuck, I'm so replaceable for these people. Why the fuck am I holding fort? So I decided then and there. Till that time, I think I was trying not to fight, but I think I felt so insulted in the moment. I was like, okay, if I'm that replaceable, please go find someone else. I didn't say that to him. I just kind of was like, okay, let it be. I was still not this wish of a person yet. So I didn't say much to him. I just kind of cut the call. And then later on in the same day or the next day perhaps, she confronted me pretending that she didn't know what went down. And then I told her, listen, I can't be part of this event of your life. So yeah, you deal with it. And that led to a little bit of a fight. Nothing much happened because I realized what was I being scared of anywho. This person herself is so scared that she had to prepare mentally to come fight me. So very funny, very immature also. And I think if she ever watches this video, she'll know and be very just vibrating with anger and everything. I don't really care. If you have the guts, you can call me and have this conversation with me. You didn't have then, so I don't see you doing it now. But more than that, I think one of the things I was scared of that because we went in very common circles. I thought that she'll go and tell how horrible of a friend I was. But then I realized I don't really care. If the kind of people that she hung out with anyway and the people she's going to go have gossip with me, they themselves are not the kind of people whose opinion I hold in any regard anywho. So it doesn't matter what they think of me or not. And this is not even coming from a place of anger or resentment or jealousy. I genuinely have moved on so past in life that I don't really care anymore. I'm just so interested in my own well-being that I don't care how others look at me. Because I did that. I did that for like 28 years of my 30 years of life. I was a people-pleasing person, so concerned about what others thought. And in spite of that, like some bit of gossip has always come back to me, and where people have painted me in so many different ways, some really nice, some really bad, some really unimaginable. And then agar karna hi hai, to let me give them a chance. Let me be that person. Let me live a life that I really want to live and not be scared of what people think of me. And what I learned out of this whole experience, this breakup with a friend, I was really sad, and it's something that I said in other videos as well. By drawing the boundaries with her, I was also able to look at her situation and feel really bad for her because in my opinion, if she did a little more work on herself, if she spent more time in her self-growth, I think she had a lot of potential, as everybody does. But unfortunately, that's not part of my job, and I had to let her go. And again, I will come off as looking as the villain of a story. But the thing is, I cannot be hero of someone else's story by being villain of mine. If I went ahead with it and I stayed with her after this kind of trauma that she did, and I give you a very small snippet, what conversations his significant other did with me, the kind of behavior she had, it was very, very disrespectful. And if I stuck it out, as guilty as I felt ditching her, if I stuck it out with her even after that, especially for them to ditch me after 3 months, which I knew they would do, it would have been so disrespectful to myself. The kind of disrespect they did, it would have been 10 times the disrespect if I stuck it out with them. So at this time, I had to pick myself. I am done picking sides with other people and ditching myself. If it means that I have to ditch myself, I cannot. I just cannot. Because I believe that if I do not do changes in myself, if I don't do my internal work, I will always be stuck in bad situations. It's me changing my mindset, my way of life, the people I surround myself with. It's only through that I can build a good life. I don't want to live the life that my parents did. They had a life where they are more concerned about what society thinks of them, what people around them think of them, and then go back at home and bitch about it. And I cannot. It's a very tiring life. It's too much energy. I don't want that. So with this experience, that was just the final nail in the coffin of me transforming from a people pleaser to a self-lover. I love that statement. But yeah, that was the final nail in the coffin. After that, even if I feel uncomfortable in a situation of confrontation, it doesn't bug me anymore. Such a weird transition I've had that I don't feel scared of telling people of what I feel in the moment. I am able to express myself, something that I couldn't do. For the life of me, even where I felt like it's valid, my reactions are valid, I couldn't. And now I am able to let go, be myself in any situation. Even at office, I'm able to express what I'm feeling when others are scared and not able to say anything. And that's the biggest win, I think. I think from this breakup, as you do with your romantic relationship, this is the transformation I had for myself, and I'm extremely proud of it. I have really good memories with the friend I'm speaking of, and if she ever watches this video, I have to tell you, babe, I have some really good memories with you, but I think we couldn't have stuck it out. Whatever you felt about me, whatever you did in my theories, doesn't really matter. What matters is, I think you need to love yourself and I need to love myself, and that we can't do together staying in relationship with each other. So we have to move on in life, and I hope you all the best for everything that you do in your life.